Hello. This video is going to be about legal persons and human beings. Because I'm seeing more and more that Canadians are waking up to the fact of what's going on in law and what has happened to them, and they're trying to express and trying to get information about how to fight back. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, but there are a lot of individuals who have built small kingdoms, and these kingdoms bring them financial gain. And in these kingdoms, they have taught a whole bunch of garbage, and a whole bunch of philosophies, and a whole bunch of, if you will say, reasoning of law that have no standing, no strength, and will produce no fruit for you if you try and use them. And some of them have come across my YouTube videos and my channel and my website, and they are upset at the fact that I am revealing things that are opposite to what they are teaching. I'm not here to build a kingdom. I'm not here to build a following. I simply invested more than a decade of my life into understanding about what's going on with the laws and what they had done to me personally. And about a year ago, I decided that I would share this information in a limited context with those who would watch my YouTube channel. I'm sorry for those who have been fed misinformation and now who have come across these videos and are in a conflicting situation concerning what they should believe or what they should study. I can't make that decision for you. It's up to you. All I can say is that whatever you choose to do, make sure that you have an article of law to back you up, and make sure that where your claims extend from, where you are drawing your rights from, that they are recognized by the state party where you live and the international body. Now, along those lines, there seems to be a very, very big confusion going on with this legal person. The Civil Code of Quebec, Article 1. Every human being possesses juridical personality and has the full enjoyment of civil rights. The Quebec Charter of Human Rights and Freedoms, Article 1. Every human being has a right to life and to personal security, inviolability, and freedom. He also possesses juridical personality. Quebec Civil Code, Article 299. Legal persons are endowed with juridical personality. Legal persons are established in the public interest or for a private interest. Civil Code of Quebec, Article 299. Legal persons are constituted in accordance with juridical forms provided by law and sometimes directly by law. Legal persons exist from the coming into force of the Act, you see that, the Act, or from the time prescribed therein, if they are established in the public interest, or if they are constituted directly by law or through the effect of law. Otherwise, they exist from the time provided for in the acts that are applicable to them. Legal persons established in the public interest are primarily governed by the special acts by which they are constituted, and by those which are applicable to them. Legal persons established for a private interest are primarily governed by the acts applicable to their particular type. Now listen to this. Both kinds of legal persons are also governed by this code, where the provisions of such acts require to be complemented, particularly with regard to their status as a legal person, their property, or their relations with other persons. In the Quebec Charter of Human Rights and Freedoms, Article 1, and in the Quebec Civil Code, Article 1, it states that every human being possesses a juridical personality. Now, most of us, I hope, are aware by now that a juridical personality is an artificial person. It is a being that has been created by law and given certain rights and freedoms of a human being. Now, this artificial person, this legal personality, this legal person, that's how we know it, that's how we describe it, we term it a legal person, is designated a subject of Her Majesty. And the legal person is said to have given its oath and its allegiance to Her Majesty. That's simply clear. When you go into the Quebec Civil Code, Article 299 and Article 300, it states that illegal persons are constituted or created by law. And it says this happens through an act or a regulation. That's what gives the power to make this legal person. Now, legal persons are constituted or are created for two reasons. Either for public interest or for private interest. Now, to see the difference, we look, for example, for private interest, we would say that McDonald's has been given personhood or is considered a legal person, and it's for private interest. IGA, the grocery store, or Maxi, the grocery store, would be considered private interest again. It's considered a legal person, but it's for private interest. Somebody created it to make money. Now, a legal person that is created for public interest, an example would be our person, the one that's attached to our human being, or a government body. Here in Quebec, we could, for example, name any one of the government bodies that are present in Quebec. That's a legal person that's been established for public interest. They govern the public and they're there for the public. And our person. So legal persons are constituted in two forms, either in private or in public. And Article 1 of the Civil Code of Quebec and Article 1 of the Charter of Human Rights and Freedoms of Quebec states that every human being possesses an artificial person, a juridical personality, a legal person. And our legal person is created for public interest. Civil Code of Quebec, Article 305. Every legal person has a name which is assigned to it when it is constituted, and under which it exercises its rights and performs its obligations. It shall be assigned a name which conforms to law, and which includes, where required by law, an expression, listen to this, an expression that clearly indicates the juridical form assumed by the legal person. Quebec Civil Code, Article 305. It states that every legal person has an assigned name. Okay, assigned. Well, if something's assigned to someone, there has to be an assignee and an assignor. That creates the trust relationship, the beneficial relationship. But every legal person has an assigned name which conforms to law, which includes. Now notice the expression they used here, which includes. So here creates an obligation, right? Which includes, because they use the word includes. An expression that clearly indicates the juridical form assumed. So in the expression of the name, it has to clearly indicate the juridical form that is assumed. So their laws that they erected clearly states that the legal person's name has to clearly include or express the type of legal person that it is. Now we're going to use John Smith's name for an example. Sometimes, if you look here in Quebec or in any other province, if you look at your driver's license, for example, you're going to see your names written in all capital letters. John Smith, all capital letters. That's indicating a type of legal person. Now there's other times that you're going to see your name written in all lowercase letters, except for the first letter of the names. That is also indicating a type of legal person. Now there are times that you see your name written backwards in all capital letters, such as Smith John. This is designating or classifying a certain type of legal person. Then anyone who's run into the law hopefully you don't, but nevertheless, and had to go to criminal court or otherwise, will see their name written capitalized letter in the last name and lowercase letter for the first name, Smith John. That again designates a different type of legal person controlled by different stats, enactments, and regulations. So we see the expression of law in Article 305 of the Civil Code of Quebec that states that when it's a legal person that's been assigned that name, it has to clearly express the type of legal person that it is. And then we see on our own identification that we get from the government different types of writings upon these identification cards that we get, whether it's all capital letters, lowercase letters, or backwards letters. So this to us is teaching us and showing us what are the different designations that they are rendering us through our names. So this legal person, or if you want to use it in the plural context, these legal persons that they have created and attached to us, the human being, these are what we're supposed to exercise our rights and duties through. But the rights and duties that they want us to exercise, they decided what they are. They decided. Now this legal person was created by an act or a regulation. And remember, this legal person was created for public interest. Public interest. And we are, the human beings, supposed to be the beneficiary of it. So the government creates it through an act or a regulation, attaches it to your human being, or allows you to use it, and allows you to benefit from it. So-called. Now, through the legal person, they decide what your rights and duties are and how you will benefit through this legal person, what they will offer you and what they won't offer you. So the human being, they recognize the state parties, the United Nations, Canada, America, the Commonwealth. They recognize many rights and freedoms that the human being has. For example, the Canadian Constitution, Article 26, the Canadian Bill of Rights, Article 5, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Freedoms, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the International Covenant on Social and Economic Rights. I could keep going on, but they recognize many rights and freedoms of the human being. And you can claim these rights and freedoms. However, the legal person is constituted, created by law, and attached to the human being. And it is assigned privileges and benefits, or we can say rights and duties, and these privileges and benefits are less than or inferior to what is recognized for the human being. So through this entity, the legal person, they've actually stripped you of your attributes, they've stripped you of what has been recognized already for the human being. They treat you like a legal person, and they hide these, your human rights and freedoms. Now, a good example, most of us have had a secular education from the government systems. Well, did they teach you about human rights and freedoms? No, because it's a hidden thing that is going on. Because as being designated legal persons, servants of Her Majesty, we have been stripped of our fundamental rights and freedoms. They're trying not to recognize them because it places accountability on the state party. They want us only to perform or to be designated as legal persons. So you have the human being, and they create that legal person. We can identify that legal person because in the law it states it has to be identifiable. We know when we see the capital letters, up, here's that legal person. It's created in public interest, and it's considered a subject and a servant who's pledged allegiance to Her Majesty. This legal person is a medium to control and to govern us, the human beings. And the worst part about all this is that it's a secret. Those who work for the Bar Association swear an oath not to reveal any of this. The fact that there's distinction in law between a human being and a legal person, and that the enactments, the regulations that they are using against most of us are only applicable to legal persons. And that's how they're applying it to us, by tricking us.